Hello scholars! Sorry I'm not here with you today, but you can get this video done in class. I will be in tomorrow. So we can discuss immune system and we'll start the bacteria experiment a bit later in the week. Alright, so we're in our second video on the immune system. Last time we saw the cause of disease. Now we're going to talk about how we can fight it. Alright, how is your body structured to fight disease? We've got three lines of defense. Many times the immune system is characterized as a battle or a war. Okay, we've got our body, which is the good guys, and the pathogens or antigens, which are the bad guys. We'll do that word on the next slide. Right? Our first line of defense are barriers. The best way to fight disease is not to let it in the body. So our skin is a physical barrier, and on that skin we have um, antibacterial enzymes that eat enzymes, and we have good bacteria. There's good bacteria that live on our skin even when you wash. They're kind of immune to the soap, and they can outcompete bad bacteria, or try to. You've got mucus, okay? So I don't have skin in my mouth and my lungs, so sometimes I breathe in bacteria and viruses. That mucus that lines um, your trachea and your chest, that's to catch and slow down bacteria. In that mucus can be white blood cells, and they are looking for anything coming in to kill it before it can get into the bloodstream. Right? Last but not least, your stomach acid. You eat infected food. 99% of that bacteria and viruses that you eat are going to get killed by that very, very low pH of your stomach acid. Now, what happens if a bacteria or virus makes it through one of these three barriers? Well, then you have localized inflammation. This is kind of a general response. I don't know what's attacking me, but I'm being attacked. So what are we going to do? We're going to swell up the area, and we're going to prevent that bacteria from getting in the blood and getting a free ride, and then getting all over the body. Okay, so that swelling cuts off the blood supply or restricts it so it's slower, so the area doesn't drain as quickly, and you can keep the infection in that one area. You're going to raise the temperature of the body. Why? Bacteria and viruses reproduce fastest at 98.6. So if you can raise the temperature, they're going to reproduce slower. Now your white blood cells are optimized to work at 101 degrees. So your white blood cells actually work faster when it's hot, but the rest of your body doesn't. You're optimized for 98.6 degrees Fahrenheit, but your white blood cells work best at a higher temperature, and the bacteria and viruses don't. So this gives us an advantage, all right? And you've got white blood cells floating around. And white blood cells eat anything that is non-self. Talk about that in just a minute. Okay, these do a process called phagocytosis, where they engulf the bacteria, digest it. Okay, now the inflammatory response is immediate and right away. That triggers the immune response. Talk about the immune response on the third slide. Your immune response is a specific response. It figures out what's attacking you and goes specifically after those cells with a targeted response. So let's blow this up a little bit. We've got two lines of defense which are non-specific: skin, mucus membrane, um, chemicals, things like that. You get the second line of defense. You've got white blood cells doing phagocytosis, inflammation, fever. Our third line of defense is our immune system, the antibodies and the lymphocytes, which are a type of white blood cell. Okay, cool. Function. Let's just talk conceptually for a minute. The function of the immune system is to recognize self from non-self. What the heck does that mean, Mr. Tamer? Well, you've got billions of cells in your body, and those cells all share the same DNA. They are you. They're members in the same team. Then you've got the pathogens and the antigens, which aren't part of you, but are trying to live inside you. We want to get those guys out. So, what's a pathogen? A pathogen is something inside you that's living. An antigen is something that generates an antibody response. So, generates a pathology, generates an antibody response. These aren't always what could be an allergen, which is a type of antigen that generates an allergic reaction. Okay, how does your body do this? Well, there's proteins on the cell surface. Okay, that act like a flag or a marker. They're called MHC2 complexes, multi-histocompatibility complexes. And what they do is they are on the top of or the outside of every type of cell. No matter what type of cell it is, they're on the outside. And it says, hey, I play for your team. I am part of you. Please don't attack me. Right? So if I don't have that marker, my immune system attacks the white blood cells. Hey, you're not part of me. Boom. Eats it, digests you, and you're gone. All right? Then those white blood cells take part of what they eat and hang it out there on the cell surface and say, hey, everybody, look what I just ate. Smell my teeth. Go look for anything that looks like this, smells like this, because if there's one pathogen, there's probably going to be more pathogens. All right? So white blood cells are this essential link. They eat everything that's non-self. But then they go and tell the immune system what to specifically target. Cool? So you need to understand what is part of you, the 300 billion cells, which are the good ones that you want, and the bad guys, the pathogens and the antigens, which aren't supposed to be there. Just a picture of these markers. Okay? They're not different colors, no, but this is just kind of like a cartoon that shows you every cell in your body has these. And what they do is they say, hey, I play for the same team. All right, so what does each thing actually do? The white blood cells we've talked about, they eat anything that's non-self, okay? They're big, they're fat, they're slow, and these are what make them mucus. When you get an infection, you've got pus and mucus coming out. That's what makes it all like white and blech. White blood cells. Eating up bad guys and digesting them. They're made in your bone marrow, right? So that's why the bone marrow is important to the immune system. Now, as part of the immune response, this targeted, specific, I'm going to go after this type of organism precisely. You get the T cells. The T cells talk to the white blood cell, see what they ate, and then they make more killer T and B cells. Okay? So they're going to, get the army together, raise up the troops. The killer Ts, all right, kill bacteria and cells infected with viruses. They pop a hole in the cell's membrane, the cell bursts. That's a big part of the pus and ooze of infection too. It also can kill viruses directly, okay, by getting into their protein coat and ripping them apart. B cells, on the other hand, B cells make bodies, antibodies, right? And what these antibodies are those proteins we talked about, and they slow down the bacteria and the viruses until the white blood cells can get there. You can think of the antibodies as the cheap bullets, all right? You can throw out a lot of them. They're not going to hit their mark every time, but they slow down the enemy until the white blood cells can come in there and eat them, all right? So here's my antigen. It generates an antibody response to bacteria or a virus, and my antibodies get created by the B cells, and they coat the viruses, and they coat the bacteria, and they prevent the bacteria from swimming and moving and reproducing, and they agglutinate them, they clump them together so that the white blood cell over here has an easier target and can eat for 10 at a time. Cool? All right. Review, you want to know how your body's structured to fight disease, the function of the immune system, and what each of those cell types do. Associated reading is section 2 of chapter 27. Make sure you fill out your note page. I'll see you in class.